tried to write her as an independent girl boss kind of character, and she ended up as a tryhard. Full stop. She's a tryhard. In the games, yeah, she's confident. She's got the ability to back up that confidence, but she doesn't spout nonsense the way they made her do in the show. Like, they did this whole one-off thing of like how she's able to identify uh the demons, you know, like you got to look at their, like, they can be really convincing as humans, so you got to look at their proportions, you know, their limbs are too long, their facial features are too far apart, their eyes look soulless, and then, you know, they smell like sulfur and cow shit. And it's like, okay, that's those are some good identifying factors, you know, that's good to know. That never went anywhere. Because how the hell did she manage to get fooled by other demons throughout the rest of the season? I was like, what was the point of showing us that? If she was gonna be fooled by plasma. But I'm getting ahead of myself on that. She's in the game, she's not so crass. If like if you know, you know. She's not as crass. In the show, they make her say fuck in almost every other sentence. And coming from someone who swears like a fucking sailor when she's not being admonished by her mom about it, um, I have no problem with swearing in a show if that character has already been pre-established to be like that. But when it comes from a character like Lady, who in the games does not talk like that whatsoever, and is not so aggressive in the way she talks, it's so jarring that you're like, what the hell were they thinking writing Lady like this? It's like they need to fix that and like try to write her in a way, or like write the story in a way that leads her towards the Lady that we all know and love. Like, if they don't do that, unforgivable transgression. Let's see here. The apartment fight was well animated. That apartment fight was so funny because it's just like in the next talking point, Dante is a fucking goblin. He was just dunking on everyone, like freaking shooting the pool balls at, like, the billiard balls at everyone and hitting them so hard that it knocks them out. Um, what else? He was moving so fast that he was dodging the bullets, ended up right next to them, shooting in the same direction, going, "Who is shooting at?" And they're like, "Wait, what? How'd you get there?" Taking the guy's bandana off, tying his arms behind his back, kicking him into the wall, and then using his coat as a matador cape. That was really funny. Him saying I work better with music and then putting on a heavy metal sound check. What was the song? Gorilla Radio? I don't know who performed that song, but like he put on the song Gorilla Radio. And he's like playing air guitar the entire time. I've seen people commenting that that was so cringe. I was like, no, that's just Dante being Dante. Because he actually would. In the show, in the original show, in the manga, and in all of the games, 100% he would. um the big guy, Arnie, that he tried to warn all of the other guys that, you know, if you go after Dante, he's gonna mess you up. I'm out. But then he ended up going in it for the money. Um, I feel like that was honestly like very cutely written, of just like, oh, they've got camaraderie together. And he even says, you know, no hard feelings about the mess in the apartment, but, you know, we're here on a job and it's a hefty bounty, so I know I'm probably gonna lose, but it's worth a shot. Like, he went for it. You gotta give him credit for that. He went for it, but he knew he was gonna lose. So I really enjoyed that. Um, and then let's see here. Again, why does Lady say fuck almost every other sentence? I don't get it. Did Dante feel nerfed? Not really. Again, he does not feel nerfed to me. A lot of people were complaining that he feels weak, or he feels dumbed down, that he feels not, like, not as serious as he is in the games. It's like, did you play the games? He's not serious in the games. The only time he is ever serious is if you bring up his family. That's it. Like, the only way to shake Dante or piss him off is to mention his family. And they got that right in the show. The quickest way to rattle him or piss him off or throw him off his game is to mention his mom dying or mention his brother. And I feel like a lot of people also forget that this is in a timeline similar to the third game, but it's like, it's in a timeline where Dante didn't know that he was half demon. Spoiler alert, again, because I am going to be talking about the entire season. So if you haven't seen it, again, go watch it for yourself. Click off the video, go watch it for yourself. But he didn't know that he was the son of Sparta. He didn't have full access to all of his demonic abilities. And then in episode 5, when he does access his demonic abilities, it's new for him. So he doesn't know how to regulate it as well as he does when we get to see him in like the 4th and 5th game, when he's had time to train and get to that point. He's still figuring his shit out. So no, he doesn't feel nerfed. He feels like someone who's been thrust into something that he had no idea about and is told to deal with it. Episode 3, why is Lady still cussing so much? Enzo is best wingman. He really is. Enzo is like best wingman, best hype man. Is like, he knows Dante has these crazy abilities and isn't freaked out by him. He fully is like, hey, you can do that? Cool. Want a job? Like, he doesn't care about Dante being different. He accepts Dante as Dante. Then I also wrote poor Anders, and that's because, we find out in that episode that he's being manipulated by the White Rabbit to basically be an inside man and a double agent. And he's being manipulated by White Rabbit saying, I can get to your daughters. Because Anders got 2 daughters that he went into the military to provide for. So White Rabbit is just like, oh, you got daughters? I can get to them. So you better do what I say if you don't want anything to happen to them. Why is Rabbit so cool? He had no right being as cool as he was for a 6-foot talking rabbit. Especially his line of God bless America. That delivery. Full props to Hoon Lee. I had not heard of Hoon Lee, and I hadn't seen anything he was in before. I looked up his IMDb profile, and I saw he did a lot of work for Ninja Turtles. He was the voice of Splinter, I guess. I'm not a Ninja Turtles fan. My friend and cousin already crucified me for that, but I've never been into Ninja Turtles, so I didn't know that he voiced Splinter in that. Anyone who's seen the live action Mulan, I guess he also did the Village Magistrate. I've never seen it because I heard that they deviated way too much from the source material of the original cartoon movie. So I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna like that. Because it wasn't supposed to be like a retelling. Like, it wasn't supposed to be like how do I phrase it? It wasn't the live action Mulan, as I understand it, is they wanted to modernize it a bit, and they went in a completely different direction of what the story was. And I heard that I just heard so many bad reviews about it that I was like, I don't think I'm gonna bother. Let's see here. Plasma, Echidna, Agni and Rudra, and Cavalier Angelo. Peak bosses from the games. Except for Plasma. Plasma isn't a boss. I understand he's from DMC1, and he's just like a common enemy. But Plasma was really cool. Echidna was really cool. Agni and Rudra from DMC3 was probably so far my favorite fight, and I say so far because I actually haven't finished the game. I'm currently inside the Leviathan that's circling outside Temen Negru, and I am stuck on a fight inside that thing. So I actually haven't finished the game, but I have Agni and Rudra, and they in the game are hilarious, and I adore them, and I want to be their friend. And then Cavalier Angelo. Cavalier Angelo was a really fun fight in DMC 5. Um, and for those of you who don't know, in DMC 5, it's actually revealed that Cavalier Angelo isn't a true demon. It's actually Trish trapped inside of a weapon. And that weapon was created by a demon who was a proficient arms manufacturer in the underworld, and his name was Machiavelli. Um, so seeing him in the show as like an actual true demon was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't get it, but we're gonna go with it. um, the motorcycle fight when Dante is chasing Rabbit to get back his part of the amulet, and he hit Agni and Rudra with the motorcycle. That's a nod to the Cavalier bike that you get after beating Cavalier Angelo in 5. But him hitting them both with the bike, and one of them immediately, I think it was Agni, said, "Damn, he's cool. Game recognized game." It was just like, yeah, we're against him, but goddamn, you gotta admit, this is badass. um, the nano explosive that Lady injected Dante with at the end of episode 2. The note I wrote was, bomb in neck, get a Tempur-Pedic. Because I'm stupid. That was brutal. And the fact that they showed his, like, the whole left side of his face mutilated after the explosion is like, like, imagine seeing that in real life. I could never. And then, Rabbit, I almost called him Bunny, but I call him Bunny personally, but that's because of episode 6. And we will get to that. But it's because at the end of episode 3, then Rabbit drops the lore that Dante is the son of Sparta, and Sparta is like a big name in the underworld for, like, they dropped the lore about it in episode 2. I kind of glossed over that, but they revealed that Sparta was a demon knight. He used to work for King Mundus. The just a little nitpick. It's Mundus, not Mundus. They keep saying Mundus in this show, and I was just like, no, it's Mundus. That's how it's pronounced in the games. Mundus. So, Sparta used to be a knight for King Mundus until Sparta realized that what they were doing to the humans, because I guess our realities were one and the same at that point, Sparta realized that what was happening to the humans was fucked up, so he was like, okay, you know what? Nope, barrier. And completely separated the two realities. So that's why we've got the human realm and then we've got the underworld. But they used to be one and the same. Sparta stayed on our side for 2 millennia, fathered Dante and Virgil, and then dipped. We don't know exactly what happened to him. That was never explained in the games. They alluded that he might be dead, but no one knows for sure. Like, no one has any idea where he is. So, yeah, so Rabbit reveals that he knows Dante is the son of Sparta. Dante had no idea. Um, I will say, seeing the flashback of Dante getting his amulet and, seeing his mom, seeing Virgil, um, there was one standout line to me, which was when Dante asked his mom for a story about his dad. He said, "Do we get to meet him soon?" I was like, oh, okay, so in this version, they don't know who their dad is. They've never met him. Like, what? Sparta just drained his nugs in a human and fucked off? I guess. But in the games, we know that that's not true, that he and Virgil actually do have memories of Sparta from their early childhood, before Sparta disappeared. So that I was just like, that's an interesting take. How the hell did Dante get Rebellion and Virgil get Yamato if they didn't know who their dad was? That's one of my minor gripes about it, because the lore goes that for their birthday, their mom gifted them the amulet and their dad gifted them their swords. So how the hell did they get the swords if their dad wasn't there? Just, I hope that's explained later, because it has been confirmed that they're gearing up for season 2. I do hope that some of these questions of like, okay, explain. Hopefully they do. Episode 4, Lady's attitude feels like overcompensation. Absolutely. She feels like she's overcompensating. Because there was a scene back in episode 3 where one of her squad members was trapped in the truck and he had a piece of shrapnel stuck in his leg. This is her friend Patriot. And he tells her, "I think my leg's stuck." She rips the shrapnel out and goes, "Not anymore." Literally, that was the line delivery. And it made me cringe so hard. So the way I was thinking about it was just like, Lady in the games, if she had a friend that had shrapnel in his leg and he said that he was stuck, yes, she would rip the shrapnel out, but as soon as it's out, she wouldn't be like, "Not anymore." Her reaction would be like, "Come on, let's go, we gotta go." Like, that. They ruined Lady's character for me. And it's not just for me. I've seen a lot of pushback about Lady's character, so I know I'm not the only one on that one. RIP her entire squad, because we know that they go to the apartment complex that Rabbit's hideout was in, and they immediately fall into a trap and they all get marked except for Lady, because of course, Lady's got plot armor, I guess. She manages to evade them, and then she goes up a few floors. She knows that she's locked in that building. And the first thing she does is run out of the elevator and trigger a trap. Like, bitch, you didn't think that this place was going to be trapped up to the nines? I'm sorry, but if that was me, I would not be running out of the elevator thinking, like, whatever the hell she was thinking. I would be like, okay, I'm trapped in here. There are demons after me, yes, but I gotta be careful. Use your eyes, look around. That irritated me. Dante learning about his heritage, again, I was just like, how did he, like, why did they go the route of him not knowing who Sparta was? Like, thinking that Sparta was just a fictional character. But the again, Hoon Lee as White Rabbit, the line delivery of Sparta was nothing but a narcissistic coward. You've done his legacy proud. I was like, oh, chills. Why did that line go so hard? Then even Enzo was like, damn, you're gonna let him talk about your dad like that? I thought that was pretty cool. Again, Enzo is still best wingman. Finding out that Dante is part demon, he didn't shy away from him. He was just like, yeah, okay, you're part demon. Cool. I had a feeling you were. Well, I didn't actually have a feeling you were part demon, but I knew you were different. And it immediately encourages Dante to just like, if you are the son of Sparta, that means you're the son of the good guy. And that's what's in your blood. That's what you need to focus on, not the fact that you're a part demon. So I love Enzo's take on it to try and help Dante rationalize. Instead of hating himself, he's like, no, don't hate yourself for being a half a demon. Be proud of yourself for being the son of a hero. And then Agni and Rudra trying to trigger Dante into going demon. The things they were saying is like, that is below the belt. Holy shit. Like, look on the bright side. After watching your whole family die, watching these people die should be easy for you. God damn! Why you gotta go there? And then we get like a partial trigger, which was like, it's like, ooh, that's a good tease. That's a really good tease. And then he's finally accepts the fact, I think I'm the son of Sparta. It's like, no shit, dude, that's what we've been saying. Lady running through the apartments, those hallucinations, what am I, Sean Connery? No, those hallucinations she was having because of the gas that she triggered because she's a fucking idiot, those were messed up. Like, that psychological horror. Holy shit. But then her running to the apartment and the people inside saying, no, go away, you're with those soldiers, we don't want any trouble, we don't want any part of this, just leave us alone. And then taking her in and hiding her, only for her to find out that those people were actually demons. The irony! But I loved that. And I do love that she's forced to face her prejudice in that moment. By realizing that they were demons, she was going to kill them until she actually had a conversation with them and she found out the whole story. That from this moment on, I'm going to call the good demons the Makaians, because it's revealed the underworld is not hell from theology, from like Christian theology. It is a separate universe called Makai. So the Makaians were refugees because the atmosphere was so toxic that children rarely survived their first year. They give us all of this exposition about why they were there and that the rabbit was bringing them over. And, you know, the fact that they tell her, we're just trying to survive, that hit home for her and forced her to face her bias. So, even still, her line of, like, them telling her what's going on, and her line of weak-ass sob story, I was just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up! Did not care for her. But she does get 1 point for telling them, you know, maybe I don't know everything. And maybe that's okay. But I am going to do what I can to get you guys out of here so you don't have to live in fear anymore. Props to her for that. I will give her that. R.I.P. Agni, R.I.P. Air Force 2 were my next notes. Yeah. Dante murking Agni the way he did was so, like, it was so clean, I would say. It was very clean. And then, you know, poor Rudra was just like, you know, you killed my brother. It's just like, what'd you expect was gonna happen? You went up against the freaking son of Sparta, and you think he's not gonna kill you? But, yeah, they blew up the plane. Everyone is now free falling. Coming episode 5. Lady finds out that White Rabbit has been experimenting on Makaian orphans. That was messed up. Especially that one Machian boy in particular begging her to kill him. Because he would rather be dead than be laying there suffering. That poor, poor kid. Plasma gives himself away because he had taken the form of one of her lower recruits. And another thing that I glossed over, he said that he can only mimic a form if it's still alive. And the entire time Dante's thinking his brother's dead, but then when Plasma gives us that little bit of exposition about his abilities, we're like, oh shit, that means Virgil's still alive. Okay. Virgil when? Lady tricks Plasma. Plasma gets got by Echidna. Echidna gets got by Lady. That whole sequence was actually really cool. That she had been firing him with all of these anti-demon rounds, exploding him, but he's just been regenerating the entire time. He even took a headshot and tanked it like it was nothing. So she knew that her bullets weren't really affecting him. So she tricks him, is just like, hey, by the way, you've been disguised as a low-level recruit. I'm a high-ranking officer. I'm a lieutenant. If you copy my form, I can give you access codes. So that way you can infiltrate Darkcom, because that's, I'm assuming, what Rabbit wants you to do. And as soon as he takes her form, Echidna busts in, shoots him with a bunch of needles, find out that it's the wrong person, and then Lady goes ham on her. I thought that was very clever. That was very clever of Lady to do that.